The Tragic Tale of Dante Tramp, the Orange-Tailed Orangutan. Dante was born to parents of means, but even in childhood he had big dreams. Fueled by the wealth and success of his dad, unbridled ambition consumed the wee lad. Raised in an ancient rainforest called Kings, young Dante showed interest in myriad things: construction and gambling and women and fame, TV and wrestling, and hearing his name. A self-confessed firebrand, Tramp was well known not just for his failure to use a hair comb.
Well, thank you, both of you, for coming out. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Thank you, Carolyn. I'm Suzanne Diffiné.
And I'm Carol Calato.
Do you guys want to tell us a little bit about what your book is about, The Tragic Tale of Dante Tramp?
We've described it as political satire, but I think in a nutshell, it is a satirical portrait of Donald Trump. And when I looked up the definition of satire, it was really funny. It is the use of humor, exaggeration, ridicule, and irony to expose an individual's vices and lack of intellect. Need I say more?
Do you want to tell us what inspired this project?
Well, I think it started out with the title of the book, which also is a bit of satire, because Carol and I, we met at SUNY Buffalo in 1966, okay, when we were freshmen. And we had this wonderful professor, Lawrence Michel, who's a Shakespeare expert, and he taught us the definition
of tragedy.
The dream of innocence is confronted by the fact of guilt and acquiesces therein. So
That's a really good, Professor. You have it down.
Oh, seriously.
Yeah.
So if you think about the title, think about Trump, the dream of innocence. Okay, is he innocent? I'm not making a judgment, because when you read the book, that you're the one who brings your perspective to the book. Is he innocent? Is he confronted by guilt? And does he admit to? So that's where the satire starts.
Yeah, right, the title.
I think I wrote just the first couple stanzas about his privileged childhood. And then I read part of The Art of the Deal, where I discovered that he punched his second grade music teacher in the face because he knew more than a music teacher. And so that's when Carol and I started talking, and I said, I need research. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
So, and I just had so much spare time on my hands between my daily job. Prior to the election, and especially after the last presidential election, Suzanne's in Florida, I'm in New York, and we're on the phone constantly. We're really concerned.
It's more than concerned.
And every morning. Polite. We were on the phone constantly, and we were both so frustrated. I thought, when the election was over, I thought, I am so out of touch with this country. And this is a lot of what we discussed. And I think what we did was we took this frustration and we channeled it into something not only creative, but something that we hope will cause people to discuss, have conversations about politics today and our situation today, because it's couched in humor, which I think helps.
And I think both of us personally found that in the morning we were yelling at the television set. And I was so tense all day long. And I really think there was a sense of despair, a feeling as if we lost a part of America that we grew up with. And so I couldn't shake that sense of despair. And I thought, what do I do? All of a sudden, the minute I started writing, when the news would come on, I was no longer yelling. I was laughing. I'm thinking, this is great for this poem. This is fabulous. So instead of us calling each other in the morning and saying, "Do you believe what he did?" It was, "Do you believe what he did?"
And then I was sitting around, having my morning cappuccino, going through newspapers and cutting out newspapers and feeding information, cutting out newspaper articles, which were, sometimes I'd have to cut out an entire page because it seems on the national news and the international news, it was Trump, Trump, Trump. That's all it was about.
I think we do want to mention this is not our first foray into politics.
Oh, no.
We can't give too many details.
Okay. But we are a product of the 60s.
That's right.
60s.
And we know what it's like to be tear gassed, I have to say.
Wow.
The SUNY Buffalo, which is where we did our undergrad degrees, it was touted as the Berkeley of the East.
Yeah.
We had Leslie Fiedler, Bob Creeley,
right.
John Barth.
I mean, we studied, it's still to this day known as the golden age of the English department.
It just was an incredible time. I'm not sure whether Bob Creeley, may he rest in peace, would be proud of us or
I'm sending the book off to the English department. I'll find out. I'm going to say, please do not grade.
That's right.
So would you say your professors at SUNY Buffalo as kind of influences and the social climate of the 60s as kind of influences?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I think just the process of this, it reinforced in me my belief that in this type of democracy, we need to stay involved. Sure. In government, just in your local government, your national, your community. I mean, you've got to be involved. Yeah. And this reinforced my lessons from the 60s.
Well, we felt, I think, at the tail end of the Vietnam War, we felt like we really influenced the decision to end the war. Mm-hmm. And if we don't speak up as a nation, we're doomed.
You have to understand, Suzanne was a wonderful English teacher. Suzanne needed to write. She really needed. She hadn't written in 15 years. She hadn't had the opportunity to be that creative in 15 years. And this creativity is now spewing out of this girl.
I think for me a huge influence was my father, who was an ad man. And I remember as a child, I laugh about it now, but I must have been 5 years old, and he would make us go through magazines and look at the ads. Oh my gosh. What do you remember? Yeah. Why? And when I started writing in school, my father would sit me down and spend hours helping me to edit, to show me what a good transition was like, what a punchy beginning was like, how you have to wrap everything up at the end. And it's really pretty much how I taught writing. Right. I would do it on the old, this is dating me, the old overhead projector. Yeah. And I always remember that my father would have me just edit and edit and edit. And so remember how the reason I would call Carol all the time was I love words. Yeah. I love the music in words. And listening, there was always a rhythm to the
great
poem.
Rhythm to this. Yeah.
Which I remember from Langston Hughes. Sure. You know the poem Dream Deferred? Sure. Listen, Daddy, ain't you heard that boogie rhythm? I just like that whole idea that there's a beautiful cadence or rhythm to it. And then the idea that there must be 50 different ways to describe the color red. Sure. Why is it the red badge of courage but scarlet letter? Those are things that my father taught me. And I always liked the idea that literature for many years was an oral tradition. Mm-hmm. So I would call Carol and I'd read to her, okay, how does the rhythm sound? Do you like the sound of the words? Do you hear the music in the words? Yeah. So the whole thing was just a huge collaboration. Yeah.
And since I'm from a percussion family,
there you go.
It's all about rhythm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've always written these funny little poems for anniversaries. Remember when I did one for your mom's birthday? Yes. It was so much fun. But they always felt forced. because I was trying to do it for somebody else. This, all of a sudden, just happened. The whole project has been so easy. I just mean, wow, wasn't it wonderful that I sat down and out it came? And it wasn't like it was in chronological order. I would just take an event in Donald Trump's life and write about it in a satirical way. And then it all just kind of pieced itself together eventually. Carol did a lot of research.
Oh, yeah, but it was fascinating and something that I was so interested in at the time, and of course still am too. Well, in fact, see, this is the next project down here. You can see we're starting. So it got a little intense at times.
Yeah,
because you're just bombarded with all of this information.
Absolutely. And
then it was a matter of putting things pretty much in chronological order too for Suzanne, so she could start to kind of follow his life and put everything into chronological order.
Yeah. And the decision, though, was of all this information you gave me,
what to use.
What do I use? And all I did was use the intuition of what speaks to me and what can I really make ironic. And initially, I think the project, it was just a lark. Oh, we were just going to do this cute little booklet and we'll run it off ourselves, right? And then I started thinking, well, this isn't really too bad.
Why did you guys feel that self-publishing was right for this project? And if you want to maybe tell us a little bit about what you learned through doing it yourself.
That's the easiest question to answer. Because we wanted to have the artistic control.
Right.
I felt working with Haley in particular that she listened to everything we wanted. We were able to ask questions. She would make suggestions, but there was no one saying, oh, I don't want to say this because maybe it will offend somebody. Because if you find something offensive in that book, I think it's actually your problem, not ours. I hate to say that.
Yeah.
This has been so easy.
Yeah.
We found out about you because I own a Pilates studio. One of my clients lives in Washington. She's seasonal in Florida.
Yeah.
And she read the book, and she said, oh my God, I love this. I'll tell you where you should take it.
Oh, that's great.
Politics and Prose.
Yeah.
I thought, oh yeah, thank you. And then Carol and I are talking about self-publishing, and I said, wait a minute, why don't we check this out? Yeah. Wouldn't it really make sense to do something in Washington?
Yeah.
And we got such a quick response from Haley.
I called Suzanne. I said I had a response right away,
yeah.
which is not always the case. And Haley was great to work with, and we're very happy.
Oh, very happy. I was talking to the attorney down the hall from me, down the hall from my office, and he has filed a suit in Palm Beach County Court to have Donald Trump declared incompetent due to narcissistic personality disorder. So I had a very eager audience.
Yeah.
And so I talked to his assistant, and I asked her if she knew of an illustrator. She said, oh, my boss's partner has a daughter who's talented. I said, oh, well, here it is. See if she could do anything.
Yeah.
Never asked a question. I would say a week later, I got the cover illustration.
Yeah. Wow.
Which was exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
Then I found out she was 15 years old.
Yeah.
15. It was all done in colored pencil.
Yeah.
She is amazing. The thing that's incredible about her is I never gave her one bit of guidance.
Right.
I just gave her the poem, which you've read it. It's nuanced and it's pretty sophisticated.
Right. Absolutely.
So she was able to look at it, interpret it, and come up with exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
There's a really cute story. We finished the book, and I thought, there's one page that doesn't have an illustration. So I called her up and I said, do you think we want to do another one, or should I leave it? No, I think we should. I said, well, make it simple. I was thinking the easiest. I gave her a suggestion, the first suggestion ever. the easiest possible thing. She said, oh no, I have an idea. So she came up with something completely different.
And which illustration was that?
The stack of books with Trump sitting on top of it, and it says, I think, the Iliad, the Odyssey, the Bible, and he's reading the art of the craft of the contract.
Yeah. That's Dante Tramp's version.
That's right. Yes, that's absolutely right. So she has been completely remarkable.
That's amazing.
So reliable. We couldn't get the book out as soon as we wanted because she had sophomore year exam.
Oh my gosh.
Most people will not catch this, but the end of the book shows Dante Tramp with howler apes throwing peaches at him. That I will tell you where that came from.
Yeah.
When I was teaching school, when Nixon was impeached.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
My students were, I taught in the inner city, and my students were giving speeches about politics. Mm-hmm. And one boy kept saying, well, you know, they threw peaches at him. What do you, he was impeached. So that's where it came from.
That's such a funny anecdote.
We are not going to be taking profits from the book, but there's an organization in Buffalo called the Gay and Lesbian Youth Services. Sure. They save the lives of so many of my kids.
That's really amazing.
Yeah.
So do you think all the profits that are made, sold in the store are going to go to that? Yep. That's an amazing cause. That really does make me feel like, you're right, it is more so than just a call to action of people resonating with it. I think it's amazing to have a
especially in this environment.
Yeah. Yes, it's especially needed now.
That's amazing. So do you guys want to talk about what you hope to accomplish from this book? What's next for it? Do you have plans to publish in the future?
Oh, okay. Yep. Yes. Yeah. All right. Plans for the book. Well, once our new website is up, which is, you see we're 5 feet tall, pygmypressonline.com.
We were trying to come up with a name.
That's a great name.
And I said, did you have a nickname? And Suzanne told me your nickname. And I said, well, I was known as Pygmy. And I was cool.
That's it.
So that's how we came up with Pygmy Press.
Great. And it's alliteration, so.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's right. So Pygmy Press Online will be up and running soon.
Great.
And we've already finished a second book.
Oh, wow.
Now I'm gearing things towards middle schoolers.
Okay.
Because having taught 8th grade English for 30 years,
oh my gosh,
my theory is that 8th graders like sex, violence, and oddity. So I've tried to put a little everything into. I have 31 poems about bizarre animals.
Wow.
There's a lizard that shoots blood out of its eyes. The gastric rooting frog gives birth in a rather unique way. She projectile vomits her live froglets. So that one, all the poetry is done. We just need the illustrations. Then we're half done with The Amazing Adventures of Toby the Tardigrade.
And what is a tardigrade?
Funny you should ask. Okay, a tardigrade is a microscopic water bear or sea bear.
Oh, yeah, I've seen this before.
It survives 328 degrees heat, absolute zero, crushing weight, toxic chemicals, nuclear explosion, and outer space without protection.
Oh my gosh.
So Toby has a bit of an odyssey.
Yeah.
He's born before there are animals on Earth. Then he crawls into a little ball. Then he meets the dinosaurs. Then he goes to Mount Vesuvius, right?
This is next, yeah.
Then Hiroshima.
Wow.
Then he goes into space with Yuri Gagarin.
He's doing a lot.
Oh, he did. Then the Bhopal Union Carbide explosion. So Toby is done, and we have already some illustrations.
And so Kimberly has done all of these.
Yes,
once again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm Suzanne.
And I'm Carol.
And Opus brought our book to life.